Do we have any questions yet, Stephanie?
Looks like we do. Is there a way to customize packing lists per customer in Fishbowl?
We can we can create custom reports for your custom packing lists and tie them to the individual customers so that the packing list you want will prompt when I'm shipping something to that customer.
So that's something that you would do separately or within Fishbowl?
Okay, so if you are the programming frame of mind, you can learn iReport and do them yourselves. However, I've never learned iReport personally. I rely on a couple of programmers to do my custom reports, and they do a good job. And then Fishbowl also offers customized reports.
Okay.
But you can tie them, you know, to individual customers, so that's the packing list that gets used. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Next question.
She asked, we have our asset valuation and inventory valuation reports, but they show different amounts for the same date. Why? So I'm going to go ahead and unmute them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Sharmini, did you run them on the same day?
Yes, I did.
At the same time?
At the same time, one right after the other.
Okay, which reports did you run?
I ran the asset valuation report, and then I ran the inventory valuation report for the year end, December 31st.
Oh, no. Did you do this on December 31st?
I did it one day later, both one day later.
Okay, so neither of those reports is going to be 100% accurate for 12/31 because they weren't run on 12/31.
Okay.
If you are an existing client, could you check your Fishbowl and see if you have set up here on a schedule a guy called D-value that runs every night? Because that is value 12/31.
Okay. Sorry, where am I going to go for this? Setup.
We're going to go into setup and then schedule.
Schedule, yeah.
And then I have a habit of creating this D-value or daily valuation report to run every evening for all my clients.
My main question on these reports is that I expected them to give me the same values, but they give different values, and I wondered why.
Well, you dated one the 31st of December, right?
No, I printed them both on the 1st and one after the other.
Okay, so which of the two reports is it?
The one called Asset Valuation Report.
Okay.
And the other one is the Inventory Valuation Report.
Summary?
So I expect them to be, you have the LIFO, FIFO, standard, and average. So I thought one of those columns will give me a value that's similar or very close to what I see in the Inventory Valuation Report.
Okay. So an inventory valuation summary. What did you choose? Because this report only does average and standard. What is your level? What is your cost?
Okay.
So if you come over here to accounting, integration, tools, module options, and this costing tab, it will tell you what costing algorithm Fishbowl is using.
What costing algorithm? Okay. Accounting integration. Sorry, you need to take me back to how you went in there.
Okay.
Accounting?
I went to accounting integration.
accounting integration. Oh, okay.
And I went to Tools, Module Options, and then this
Tools.
third tab over is the costing method that you have selected to run your company by.
So
And
we
this
are using FIFO.
okay, so when I look at the report
Mm-hmm.
for inventory valuation,
Mm-hmm.
it only has two costing methods that it works for, average and standard.
Okay.
So if you're not, so this report does not support LIFO costing or FIFO costing. So by
Okay.
definition, you probably ran it with the average cost.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be different from your FIFO cost.
Okay. So it's just that I see all three in a column on the asset valuation report.
Correct. That's the way that report is designed.
Mm-hmm. So if we are running it on FIFO, wouldn't the FIFO column be the same as our inventory valuation, or the?
No, because the inventory valuation does not support FIFO costing.
Oh, I see. Okay.
FIFO is
It
not a choice on this report.
does not support the FIFO. Okay. And so if I'm going to take, so if I want a year-end value, which is the better report?
The report that you want to run is on December 31st
Mm-hmm.
or January, okay? Did you
Mm-hmm.
check to see if I set this up for you?
Oh, okay.
Because this is your asset valuation report that supports all the costing methods. And I
Mm-hmm.
typically have it set up to run
Mm-hmm.
at 10 o'clock at night, every night.
Every night? Okay.
So if you have this report
Mm-hmm.
scheduled, you can follow the little pencil and it'll tell you where it's being saved.
Oh, okay. Let me.
And then when you get to that directory, you want to find a report that says D-value 1231. And that is going to be your inventory value on the 31st.
Okay. So, okay. I'm under scheduled tasks. I'm sorry. You need to take me back again.
Sure.
Okay.
We also have this recorded. We have this recorded and you'll be able to access it again by tomorrow.
Oh,
And
okay.
you can go through it much slower.
I'll check the video then.
Perfect. Okay. Then Sharmini, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next person.
Okay, sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have Ashley here. She has a question. Is there a way to have the item numbers transfer over from Fishbowl to QuickBooks Desktop Pro? We found that we cannot do that.
This falls under the pretty QuickBooks invoice concept. So if I come up here to accounting integration and I go to tools, module options, I have all these nice choices, okay? And here under the QuickBooks tab, I can set, typically I want to set the invoice number to be the Fishbowl shipment number. And then I'm going to set this to be the part number. And typically I set up this one to be the unit of measure, okay? So what this does is from this moment forward, that part number will go over into QuickBooks. And what I do in QuickBooks is I go to my templates. And I'm going to take an Intuit product invoice, edit template. So make a copy because Intuit wants you to do that. Copy. And I usually name this my Fishbowl invoice. Okay, and then I'm going to customize this. So I'm going to come here to my columns, and I am going to add other one, and this checkbox controls what I see on my screen. This checkbox controls what prints, what the customer can see, and I can put my product right here, and I can uncheck the print so my customer doesn't see the FB underscore item. They just see the product. And then if I need my unit of measure to come over, I can put that in here. Okay. And then I can go and make my guy pretty. I can change the order of these. So I probably want this to be second guy in line. And so that will change it so that this product number will be my fishbowl number. Okay.
And will I be able to pull reports searching for that product number?
You can pull any report that supports other one. And there are only a few of them that do that, but any report that supports other one, you can pull a report, yes, in QuickBooks.
So what they're wanting to do is that QuickBooks generally reports are a lot cleaner than Fishbowls in regards to pulling sales reports. So what we were trying to do is go to a particular customer and say, how many of this one particular item did we sell to them, gross margin, and
I lost you. So in QuickBooks, I lost what you were saying, but I can guess what you were saying. You can come over here to custom reports, transaction detail, and then this reports other one and other two. I have no data in this QuickBooks file because I made it right before we started the meeting, or actually, but I can go ahead now and post from my Fishbowl file to this QuickBooks file, just to get an idea of what that would look like.
Okay, so that's just a one report.
Pardon?
And this is their pulled the custom detail report.
Yeah, that's the one I would probably start off with.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right. So we have a next question. Oh, by the way, there's also a video on our website and YouTube on how to make that pretty QuickBooks invoice. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to move on to Greg. Greg has this question. Does Fishbowl have a way to handle unplanned issues or exceptions? For example, if our R&D department uses a finished good to create another finished good through experimentation. Okay, Greg, I'm going to unmute you.
Use a finished good to create a new finished good, but is it going to be saleable? Greg?
What's that?
So they took a finished good and they made a new finished good and as an experiment, but is it actually a saleable piece of inventory when we're done?
Sometimes.
Okay.
We're wondering, is there like a module where we can handle something, say, as a department rather than an inventory part or using a manufacturer order?
Well, I like using the manufacturing orders because I can come here and I can go new and I can do a custom manufacturing order and I can have my finished goods be, and I don't know if I have one of these or not. Next. So for my finished goods part, I can make it a non-inventory part that pretend that this is coded to my engineering department. And now I can put on all the parts they consumed. Okay. And then if I go ahead and finish this work order, issue it, what'll happen is all the dollars that they consumed will go to engineering as an expense. And of course, it picks stuff I have no inventory of. And we will have removed these from inventory. You like that approach?
That is one solution. It's just how I can't see very well on my screen. It's very small.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, that's all right. So I may have to just go into the test mode and play with it. But like you said, if we're trying to move stuff to a specific department like engineering, R&D,
So this
production.
one approach, and you have to have the manufacturing version of Fishbowl to use this one. Another approach is when I have this inventory transaction, I can cycle it out and put it into, I can cycle it and put it to a customer job or a QuickBooks class. And then when it gets over to Fishbowl, it gets over to QuickBooks at the end of the month, I can lessen my inventory adjustment account and increase engineering expense. This is also good for marketing and all those trade shows and sales samples.
Okay. Okay.
But it's
what's that?
but I can charge my engineering department for the inventory using any of those three methods. So
okay, that's where we're trying to go, is how do we charge things from one department to another? That's one of the issues. Yeah.
And I can set them up as classes. So I might have an engineering class here so that when I go over to QuickBooks, I can run my P&L by class and find how much of the inventory adjustment expense belongs to engineering instead of operations.
Okay. Okay. Hopefully that we'll try that, see how that works, Jeanne.
Yeah, but we've got a couple of different methodologies on this.
Okay. Okay.
I can also use the customer. So I have a couple of companies. One's got a customer called Zappa, and another one's got a customer called Zeke. And funny enough, they're both in Austin. And so if I charge things to a customer job and I have a fake customer job, I can say Zeke subjob engineering, Zeke subjob marketing, et cetera, and so on. They were actually using it for their rejects, their quality control rejects, so that we could quantify that. But that's another way of getting there using a customer job.
Okay.
All right.
Got it. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have Mo. Let me go ahead and unmute Mo. But the question is, I have a technical question and I'm not sure if this is the correct format. I want to know about 2FA, two-factor authentication for Fishbowl and QuickBooks.
Well, at this moment in time, Fishbowl doesn't have any two-factor identification. QuickBooks, I think, is getting there. Which kind of QuickBooks do you have, QBO or QBD?
QBD.
Online or desktop?
Desktop.
Okay, so you saw how they don't really have two-factor identification, but they're moving to this logging into your Intuit account to do like everything, which is annoying for those of us who have 30 or 40 QuickBooks files on their computer, because I'm doing all kinds of data projects. So yeah, it doesn't exist yet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mo. Okay, so Lisa has a question.
Hi, Lisa.
Let me unmute her. Okay, so her question
Hi,
is,
Jeanne.
Is there a way to do a mass delete of payments entered in QuickBooks? I have the situation where due to a Fishbowl glitch, Fishbowl creates duplicate payments and sends them to QuickBooks. How do I delete the duplicates?
Okay. Step number 1 is you are going to deposit all the good payments. Okay? Because QuickBooks has got a rule, you can't mess with a payment once it's in a deposit. Okay? And then up here, let me go pull out a browser. There is a guy, a place on the internet, totheq.us. And this guy has all kinds of QuickBooks data tools. So if I was just going to go to his utilities, all right, one of his utilities is called data remover, excuse me. And for a whole $50, or maybe let's, yeah, $60. His price has gone up over the years. You can, and I have all of these tools. You can come through here and you can go into data remover and tell it to remove your payments within a specific date. So as long as your good payments are in the deposit, this is going to try to delete all the payments, but it'll only delete the ones that are duplicates.
Okay, so if I can isolate the time of when these duplicates were all posted, I can purchase that tool, run the tool, and it will, based on the time frame, delete them all.
Correct.
As long as they're not in deposited.
Not deposit. That way you're,
Perfect.
so if you deposited all your good payments, then you're safe. But of course, you're going to make a backup before you run the tool.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jeanne, can you just say the website name again?
The letter Q, the number 2, the letter Q.us.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll also make sure to link that when we post it on our website.
Yeah.
Okay, so next we're back to Sharmini. Sharmini, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you.
Hi, Sharmini. What are we doing now?
Okay, so Sharmini has a question here. Partially received items for 3 different POs all came in one container. We want the portion, or I think the appropriate freight. Oh, actually, Sharmini, I'm a little confused here. Can you go ahead and ask your question? Sorry.
Sure. Okay. We've never had this happen before, but we sent out 3 purchase orders, and the supplier was in a hurry, and so what they did was they did partials on each of the, or rather that one vendor sent partials on those 3 purchase orders and sent them all in one container. So there's freight and there's duties on that as well. So we've received them, and we're wondering, how do we, like partially fulfill, assign the freight, the duties, and, do all
Okay.
that?
Step number 1 is you're going to take the freight and duties and decide how much of that bill belongs to each PO based on
Okay.
what you received. And so if I've got, let me take one that's entered but not received. Okay. So I can, let me find a better example. So this one was already partially received. We ordered 20 yards, but we received 15. And so it's open for 5 yards. So what I'm going to do is come in here and hit my reconcile button. And I'm going to put in my bill number, and it's okay to have -1, -2. Okay.
Okay.
My bill date is always my receive date. And look how helpful Fishbowl was. They put this column here with the receiving date just for me. Okay, I'm only reconciling the item I received. And now I'm going to take those pieces of the container freight and duties, okay, customs duty, and I'm going to uncheck this box because this way it goes onto the balance sheet as an accrual so I can post the bill against it. So let's say this one, we've got $1,000 worth of that container. All right. And now I have a freight in. Oh, container freight. How nice. All right. And let's say that was $1,500 on this item. I'm going to uncheck the add to vendor bill button. And so what I'm going to get is I'm going to have the portion of the freight and duty landed to just this one item. And I'm going to do the same for the other two POs. Okay. And so the entry, I don't know if we set this up or not. I like to have my landed cost have an accrual account called accrued landed cost.
Okay.
So that my inbound freight and duties and what have you are separated from my outbound shipping.
Okay.
So, because the normal default is shipping accrual, and that's being populated with every outbound shipment. So I like to keep this in a separate bucket in QuickBooks so that it's easy for me to analyze.
Okay.
All right?
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Is it?
Yes. I read your mind. Yes, it's time for Russell.
Okay. And I'd like to introduce you to my good friend Russell Graff with a great add-on for Fishbowl called NetStock.
And hopefully you are seeing my screen at this point.
Yes.
All right, excellent. Well, thank you. Appreciate Terabytes allowing me to intercede here and give her a little bit of a break. I'm always impressed. I got to tell you, those of you in the audience, I assume you are impressed as I am with both the availability that Jeanne gives you, right? The ability to just ask these questions and be available to you to do that. And then the knowledge that she imparts. It's impressive. I've been on the other side of the desk. I've been the Jeanne in my life, implementing and supporting software, and it's impressive. So thank you for the opportunity to spend just a few minutes with you and just share a little bit about what NetStock is. We are both the name of the company and the application is NetStock. We're about a 10-year-old company, just had our 10th birthday late last year. And a global firm, started over in South Africa, moved to the North American market about 8 or 9 years ago, so pretty quickly in the birth of the company. And we now have over 1,600 companies around the globe using our application, which we'll talk a little bit more about. Over 30 countries that some of those customers are in, so a very truly global environment. About 900 of those customers are in North America, so the bulk of our install base, and of course our fastest growing market opportunity. So tons of users managing billions of dollars of inventory every month using our application. And of those, I think we now have about a dozen or so Fishbowl customers. We're on the Fishbowl marketplace website, and then quite a number of those are Terabytes customers as well. So Jeanne has a very good familiarity with our application. And what we do is really we solve a couple of problems for inventory-based businesses, right? So if you're manufacturing, distributing, or if you're in a retail or e-commerce environment, you know that it's challenging to balance the levels of inventory so that you don't stock out, you don't run out of product, because in today's world, especially if you do that, you have a risk of not only losing that sale, but losing that customer, but that you can't solve that problem by simply overbuying. Right, that having too much inventory has some serious implications on the profitability of your business as well. And so if we can reduce that excess stock amount, we free up cash that you can use elsewhere in the business to drive other profit generating activities, right? Marketing, buy more warehouse space, hire more people, whatever it might be, product development investments that you can make. We all have need for that cash flow. There's plenty of projects waiting for us to have the cash to do them. And a lot of it is just sitting stacked up in your warehouse gathering dust. So think of those $1,000 bills sitting there in the shelf in a warehouse. And we can free those up, and we also reduce actual carrying costs, which are hard costs every month. We've really made a big difference in your profitability, but at the same time, we do that without you losing product on hand so that you can support your customers. So that balancing act has always been very challenging, and we know that the folks that are responsible for that, the buyers and the planners in the organization, especially in smaller firms, may be wearing multiple hats. They've got limited time, and they're trying to leverage the tools that QuickBooks and Fishbowl give them, which are a great starting point. But they don't get you all the way to a full best practices where I can really make sure that every time I create a purchase order, that it is exactly what I need to buy at exactly the right time, based on all the factors relative to lead time and performance of my suppliers, what my demand is for those products, when I expect that demand to present itself, and so forth. So these are really the three what we would call value propositions that by deploying the NetStock application, you really get value in the business. And we like to talk about kind of two sides of the coin, of the inventory management coin, right? When you think about inventory management, a lot of times our minds go to what is really just one aspect of it, which we would call inventory control. And so Fishbowl does an outstanding job of helping us manage the movement of the product, right? And knowing where we have it, how much we have, maybe helping us do physical counts and keep accurate information as to those quantities on hand and locations for those items. Critically important, but it doesn't answer the second question. The flip side of the coin is it the right stuff? Do I have the right level of product at the right place at the right time to meet my customer demand, or to be able to support a manufacturing or an assembly process in my manufacturing environment to make sure that I don't have to slow down or shut down a production line for lack of a raw material or some component. And so that's the side of the equation that NetStock brings to bear, is marrying ourselves with that Fishbowl data, now do the analytics against that data and give us really a great picture of the health of our inventory, and making sure that we've got the right levels in place to meet our requirements. And so we do that with a forecasting engine. We've got over 30 different algorithms built into our forecasting engine, so it looks at historical information and predicts what that future demand is going to be. It's never perfect because it's a best guess, but it's a really sophisticated algorithm, some really high quality math going on that does the best possible job that you could do. And then based on those analyses, it helps you understand what you need to order, and it helps you identify which are the most important items to focus on. If you've got 100 or 500 or 1,000 SKUs or more, you know that you can't look at every single one in every location every single day. So give me a tool that helps me bubble up to the top to my attention which ones are the most important, right? Which items are going to have the biggest impact on my profitability, and let me hone in on those and the limited time and effort time that I have available to me. So that's really the design of this product, is really to answer two key questions: what needs my attention, and what do I need to order? And so by inference, what needs my attention means that we're going to take a status check of every single item in every location every single day, and we're going to identify whether it's in a good state, or whether it's already too low, or is run out, or it has too much, or is about to have too much. So we understand that that analysis for every location, for every item, and we are served by that by identifying how we classify those items, right? We do an ABC analysis. We also do an analysis of speed of movement, high, medium, low, and we get this resulting product understanding and awareness. And then that helps us drive investment policies and service levels. And then again, we bring that forecasting engine to bear. And the way we do this is we simply extract the data from Fishbowl on a nightly basis. It's all automated. So we've already written the scripts. Again, we're a certified, tested application for Fishbowl. We grab the data every single night in a very secure fashion. It gets uploaded, compressed and encrypted, and uploaded into our private cloud environment. And then we do all of our analytics there. And in 15, 20 minutes, typically, we're presenting all that raw data from all these disparate files in the Fishbowl database. We aggregate all that and present it back as very actionable information in a browser. So it's a cloud-based application, any browser, any device, anytime, anywhere, on-demand type of availability of this data. We present that dashboard that highlights and exposes which are the most needed items that need my attention, and we give all those recommendations and all that analytics and analysis. And so here's an example, just a couple quick screenshots, and we'll send it back over to Jeanne to carry on. But just to give you a feel, When we grab all that data, this is a typical dashboard view that you would be presented with that shows you what your current stock holding is versus the ideal model. What could you get by with? What are you all in excess? And what are those items underneath that list that are the most important, the most excess items that I can start to focus on? And then this concept of a surplus order in the upper right corner here, where we say, here's a purchase order that's been issued that when it arrives, it's going to contribute more to my excess problem. I don't need it yet. It's coming in too early. So maybe I can work with my vendor, get ahead of the curve a little bit and have them delay a shipment or combine it with a later purchase order so that it doesn't come in quite yet. I don't create more of a problem. Conversely, on the lower row here of data elements or widgets, if you will, on the dashboard, I'm seeing how I'm doing against my target fill rate. And I can see the progress that I'm making over time with the bar chart. Where am I currently stocked out and what might that cost me in terms of lost sales, and which are the top 5 items underneath there contributing most to that challenge. And then on the right column, similar to surplus orders, potential stockouts. Where do I still have stock, but we anticipate that we're going to run out of before the next replenishment arrives? And again, maybe then I could expedite or partially expedite an order, right? Air freight a piece of it or whatever, so that I can avoid that stock out problem because I understand what my demand is for that item. I understand what POs have been issued and when they're expected to arrive based on lead times and supplier performance. So I've got a really good understanding of the health of that inventory and the challenges that I'm having and where I need to focus my attention. And I talked a little bit about that classification process. This is really critical to helping to identify, prioritize where I need to spend my time and energy. The items that fall into the categories in the upper right that are color-coded green, right? High value, fast moving items that I probably want to have my target fill rates be higher, maybe manage my replenishment cycles a little bit tighter, all those things that might focus my attention there, as opposed to items that categorize in the lower left as low value, slower moving items. I might even question why I bother stocking those. Maybe I rationalize those every 6 months or every quarter and maybe pull some of those out of inventory and just have them be on order or non-stocked items. Or maybe I have a vendor that can manage that for me if I've got them down the street and they have good lead time performance for me. Or they're nuts and bolts for a manufacturing process and I just buy them twice a year in as big a bulk as I can, save as much money as I can and put them in the corner of the warehouse. The point is the visibility that this allows me now to make some good decision making regarding how I manage my inventory, and that's going to drive profitability. And if I go back to that dashboard, you'll see some of that color coding of these items reflected there, which again helps me prioritize where I'm going to spend my time and energy in the limited time I've got today to manage it. Just a quick glimpse of our forecasting environment, right? We're looking at historical unit consumption of a given item in a given location, and then I have the ability to amend that forecast so that I can make adjustments if my sales team is telling me or there's something going on in the marketplace. Obviously, this last year with the COVID-19 impacts, supply chains have been completely upended and volatile and up and back and forth and open and then closed and then open again. It's just been a challenging environment. And so our folks that have this tool have really been able to manage all that volatility much more effectively than if you were trying to do with a spreadsheet or some other kind of custom report. So again, that visibility has been really helpful. And then the last thing I'll show you here, this is an example of how we look at what our order opportunities are. We say, create this kind of pro forma purchase order. We have all the information at our fingertips as to why NetStock is making the recommendation that they are as to what to purchase and what the impact of that is in terms of cost. And if I'm tracking volumes or weights, I can look at that in terms of container management and so forth. Again, all at your fingertips as a buyer planner. I can create the perfect purchase order in a matter of minutes, what used to take hours or days, if not weeks, to get it right. And then we just click a button and it goes and creates the purchase order automatically for you in Fishbowl. So you don't have to rekey it, and you know it's exactly right. And I think it's important for you to understand that because we've got so many customers, we've done so many implementations, we have a very mature onboarding process. We do a great job of getting people up and running very quickly and very cost effectively. It's all done remotely, all via the internet and self-learning video and email content. We've got an embedded, built right into the application, a product we call Simon, which is a learning management tool that tracks your performance, gives you some quizzes. And then, of course, we provide all kinds of coaching along the way to make sure that you're getting this thing fully up and running quickly. Not at all uncommon to be up and running in 4 to 6 weeks in most distribution environments, maybe another week or two if you've got bills of materials that we need to manage and blow through those component levels of demand, which we support as well. Or if you've got a central distribution environment with multiple secondary locations or storefronts, we support all that. That might take an extra week or two, but we go through that process very cleanly and do a great job with that. So just wanted you to be aware that there's a better way to do it than spreadsheets. You know, you'll see us hashtag ditch the spreadsheets. And we've got lots of content out there on our website. There's my contact information. I'd be happy to speak with any of you directly. Just let us know that you heard about us on this presentation, or certainly reach out to Jeanne and she can advise you as how other customers of hers have really benefited from this application. Now we've got a couple of websites that you may want to go to and learn a little bit more as well. Netstock.co, it's not .com, that's not a typo, netstock.co or netstock.tv, where there's lots of additional content out there as well. So with that, Jeanne, I'll turn it back over to you to carry on with your outstanding consulting and support services.
Who is my next questioner?
Okay, we're trying to understand what are the best reports to empower our accounting team that's in a QuickBooks environment, whereas the rest of our team is in a Fishbowl environment. We're currently providing